Let's talk about how you keep track of the chemicals, whether they're good or not. Right over here on the wall, you'll see our dry erase board system of communication. Make no mistake, this is not an old dried out sponge with a hole in it. It's a dry eraser. So I just made some new chemistry, and today is not Monday at noon. And so what I would do is erase the previous person's notes, grab the dry erase, circle Wednesday. I made the chemistry at about 6 o'clock. Put that little cap back on, hang the dry eraser back up. And if you notice, it's got sort of a reminder here. It's developer and stop bath. You're always going to mix them on at the same time. And that's because the stop bath is a handy indicator of whether or not the developer is still good. The developer, you won't really be able to tell, except that you'll start getting inconsistent results and you'll wonder why you're a terrible photographer and everything sucks. Maybe not quite that bad. But I'm going to move you out here so you can see the whole layout. So, the dry erase board is the first place to check. When you come into work, if these trays are covered and you know, they have chemistry in them, the first thing is to check when they were made. So like today's Wednesday. If I came in and it said that they were made on Monday, I know it's definitely time to change them. If you're doing anything that's even slightly crucial, like anything beyond just making a proof sheet, I would definitely change the chemistry if it's been overnight. It's just not, it's oxidized too much even with the tray covers. On the other hand, if I'm just making a quick test print and there's stuff out here and I'm not going to make a final print in that print session, I'll use it. I'm cheap, you know, I don't want to waste chemicals. So, I'm actually in a cleaning up stage right now, but you would come in and you would see these nice little plexi covers sealing the trays, and the tongs would be rinsed off way down here in the holding bath and hung up on the edge of this pitcher, which lives up here. So, when you come in, let's say the developer had been made that day, but now it's the end of the day and you're coming in and wanting to work and you're wondering, well, I don't know, is it still good? Maybe lots of people have been working and it's gotten exhausted just from lots of use. That's also a thing. That can happen. So, for that scenario or potential, we have these signs back here, instructions on how to check the chemicals. And, yeah, there we go. So that's, hopefully they're located close enough to the trays to be useful. And basically, developer, it says, yeah, first check the dry erase board. It's no good if it was yesterday. But then, you actually go to the stop bath for the definitive answer on whether the two chemicals are still good. So, this stop bath, I think it is very clear to you that this stuff is really yellow. But you can always take down the little gross little cup here. I'm going to erase it and rinse it out. And you could dip some out and you know, look at it under the light and you can see it looks yellow. If this is no longer yellow, if it's kind of really clear or even blue, that means that enough of that developer has been transferred over as people were making print after print after print, and that it is naturally exhausted. You know, the stop bath has become neutralized, and when the stop bath has become neutralized from that much developer going into it, that means there's a really good chance the developer's kaput too. So, in that scenario, you would very simply just take these two trays and pour them at the same time down the drain with a good little dose of water from our little faucet here. And that would take care of it. And then you'd make yourself some more and mark the dry erase board. I'm not going to dump them because, as you just saw, I just made them. So I'm just going to cover them up for now. What about the fixer? Let's talk about the fixer, shall we? We shall. So the fixer has instructions too. It's got a big stop sign reminding you never, ever, 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 ever to drop it down the drain. But Here's the procedure for the fixer. We're going to always test fix A, and I'm looking to see what you can see. I need to back the camera up, that's what I need to do. Or genius, zoom out. Can I zoom out? I can. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so we're going to dip a little bit of the fixer out. We're going to grab this little bottle, which is called Hypo Check, from the days that fixer was called Hypo. And we're just going to drop a little drip of this into that cup. If you don't see anything, which you just didn't see, you didn't see anything, right? Then that means the fixer is still good. So all is well with the world, you pour it right back in and you get to work. If the fixer were bad, you would see a sudden sort of milkiness appear right where that droplet went in, like a little reaction, and that would tell you that too much silver was built up in the fixer and you needed to change it. I can actually show you what that looks like by showing you where you would put that fixer, and so I can dip out some of the old exhausted fixture out of that bucket. Let's bring you down. Let's lower this camera. So you can see right below the fixer tray this exhausted fix sign and some arrows, and that's going to Mr. Gray Bucket here. And that's where we're going to collect the fixer rather than sending it down the drain, because I have a machine that reclaims the exhausted silver out of it and makes it safe to put back into the down the drain. So let's look at what exhausted fixer looks like. Okay. See that? That is what it's going to look like when it's time to pour it into the trough, into this bucket, and pour some more fresh fixer into there. So you would pour that in. You would. Now I need to zoom out so you can see again. There we go. So your procedure is written down to kind of explain what you do. You would take fix A, the one that's exhausted, and you would very carefully pour it into this bucket. Okay, so now this thing is empty in this hypothetical situation. You're going to put the lid back on the bucket, put it up here. Unless it's full, then you're going to tell me so that I know to come and empty it. Now, you're going to take this empty one and swap places, because now the fixer that used to be fix B is now the oldest fix in the room, right? So now you're going to take this empty tray, and usually there's fixer right up here. You're going to grab a bottle of fixer from above and just pour it in there. There's not like a measured amount or anything like that. I'm going to turn this back up here. There's not a certain amount, just sort of 3 inches or so in there, up to the sort of midway point. That way there's plenty of fixer to circulate for all the prints that might be waiting out in there. And so now you're ready to go. That's how you change the fixer.